Hey, folks, welcome to episode number 3 of the Rhubarb Travelers podcast. We are recording this show on October 7, 2025. I am Blake. With me, as always, is Damon. How are you, my friend?
Good. Yeah, we had to record a day early. I forgot I have to go fall break in college. I have to go pick up one of my sons tomorrow. So that's why we're recording a day early. I put it on Blake. He had to do a little bit of extra work today.
Right. And my boys will be back next week as well for their fall break.
We are going to a new haunted house.
You told me about that.
Yeah, the one that we wanted to go to, unfortunately, I guess there was some damage during, the storms last year and they were not able to open. So we are going to try that hopefully around Christmas because they do a Christmas thing as well. So we're going to try this other one called Scream Dreams. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about it on the next show.
Fairly local to us?
South of Winston-Salem.
Ah, okay. All right.
So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's see. I got a Rhubarb Traveler shirt. Yeah,
that's right. We got our first piece of swag. We're going to decide whether we want to make that official, I guess. Right? Are we going to look at that?
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty official to me when I was wearing it, so I feel.
You didn't get me one? Come on. What's up with?
I was surprised at how much it. If you don't get a big order of shirts, it's kind of expensive to get one shirt.
Yeah.
It was kind of expensive, but it's nice.
Sometimes the shipping alone is almost as much as the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So I think once we get some time, we'll think about getting some store front up or something along those lines.
Yeah. Okay. Now, to make that swag official and to get that store up, that means we need some more Patreon subscribers. And we want to take this moment to thank one of our Patreon subscribers, Michelle D. She has been a subscriber since almost the first day, but she's also a Facebook group member and she contributes regularly in those discussions. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being a Patreon subscriber. And if you are interested in becoming a Patreon subscriber, please go look up on patreon.com, Rhubarb Travelers Podcast. We are there. And please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. We are working on getting some benefits for you folks. I promise it will be coming soon.
And I feel like Michelle travels like I travel. So I feel I'm always looking forward to kind of what her thoughts are because she kind of always travels.
We need to get her on the show just to get
there. You go.
Give her a try.
Let's see. So I do have my Robo Jeffrey tip. I didn't love a lot of them. So this is a tough pull. There was, and because it was a day earlier, it was tough for me because I didn't have time to really delve into this. This is kind of a laundry sort of situation, right? So, and again, this is good because I've been wearing the same shorts today for 3 days in a row, which seems about normal. Again, I don't understand. It's kind of like jeans. Do you wash your jeans after you wear them?
They have this new technology now called washing machines that you don't have to do it by hand.
But what I'm saying is if you have jeans, do you wash them every time you wear them? I just need to know what sort of person you are.
It depends on what
I know what sort of person you are then, right? So, you're not going to agree with this. But again, I've been wearing these shorts. I haven't really done too much for the last 3 days. The underwear gets changed. It's just not the shorts. I don't get it. Listen, if I'm going to work out in them or work in the yard, yes, of course.
There we go.
But if I'm not, anyway, so the tip is just remember you can do laundry at DVC villas, right? So that's always a big thing. I think it helps, especially if you're traveling. Again, I get caught up bringing too much stuff. But when I go to Disney, I tend not to bring as much stuff because I know that the laundry is there. And my wife actually doesn't mind doing the laundry when we're there. I don't know why. Maybe it's a comfort to her. Makes her feel like we're home. But as long as it's not a ton of laundry, it's not so bad, right? So you can save a lot of luggage space. We usually bring enough underwear and socks. And then outside of that, if you need to wash stuff, you need to wash stuff. But, having DVC and having the in-room laundry has been a game changer. It's a great perk, especially with younger kids. But I will tell you, even with kids that spill things, which I would say get a lot of that with my kids. It's not a bad thing either.
And folks need to realize that studios do not have the in-room laundry. That's only.
But they have shared facilities, right?
They have shared facilities, yes. But it's
is just, not so bad.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to more DVC news. Disney has announced. Where are we? Yeah, there we are. Has announced after hours for DVC members exclusively. for 2026. You can go check the DVC website for that. Have you ever done after hours at the parks?
I don't think I have. It's just, that's late. I usually don't do late in general,
Right. Yeah,
right?
you're
So,
usually asleep by 7:30, aren't you?
I'm at least out of the park. Like, it's funny, like, now that, like, the kids are a little bit older and stuff, like, we're usually out of the parks by, like, 4. Right?
Right.
Like, maybe
Ooh,
we hit
4
dinner
o'clock.
there. Yeah, maybe we hit dinner and then go back, but, like, we're kinda done at that point because we've been there so often. Think if I was taking a trip somewhere where I hadn't been in a while, maybe,
Uh-huh.
but again, we've been there so often, so I don't
So
know.
if
I mean, cool for people, right? I always like perks.
right. The main draw with this is lower crowd levels for sure in the after hours. So if there's a ride that you've been wanting to do, that's usually the time to do it, where you can basically walk off and walk right back on during
I'm
those
looking,
after
there's a
hour
lot
times.
of dates too.
There are. If you go look at the dates, every park has at least 2 dates in every month between January and July. So
Yeah, that's good.
lots of choices there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So moving on, DVC has announced member discounts for a whole lot of holiday items coming up. So, first off, is DVC discounts for Jollywood Nights over in Hollywood Studios. Those are running on select nights between November 8 and December 22. You're going to save $10 on individual tickets, plus get some other perks along the way. I guess Jollywood Nights only started about 2 years ago, I think, so have you
Yeah,
been
I
to that?
haven't I haven't been to that. I've been to the Very Merry Christmas Party, right?
Right,
Which we guess we're gonna talk about next, but no, I
yep,
have not been to Jollywood Nights.
right, I have not either. I heard the first year they had
Well,
them,
you
it
first
was
would
a little
have to be a
rough.
DVC member, Blake, let's be
Right,
honest, right?
okay, like, bringing that up again, okay, yeah, I get it, alright. So, Jollywood Nights, $10 discount, some other perks, consider going to that if you are gonna be at Disney Hollywood Studios. Staying in the holiday theme, discounts have been announced for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Again, $10 off on tickets. Other perks, you get some, I believe, what they call keepsakes, special DVC keepsakes that you get to go home with,
Mhm.
um, along with all of the other goodies. I have not done a Very Merry Christmas Party yet. We did the Not So Scary, but
I
Very
I
Merry
like I
is
like the Christmas party way better than the Halloween one. I just thought it was better done. There was kind of like the projection stuff was really cool. I enjoyed going. I've only been once, but I thought it was well worth it.
now, is it one of those things where, like, when we did the Halloween party, I said, "This is great, I enjoyed it, but I'm not gonna do it again probably until grandkids come onto the scene." So
I kind of felt it was packed. I mean, that was the thing, like, it was pretty packed, especially when you're watching the projections and stuff.
right.
I thought it was enjoyable, but yeah, I mean, to do it again, the way I feel about vacationing in general is I don't mind going to the same place, but doing the same things over and over again at Disney, no, I don't think I need to do it again for a while. So, I mean, but it was enjoyable. I could see people wanting to do it more than once, but just, not for me. But I guess there's also a free magnet or something.
Right, yeah, that
I
is
love free magnets though.
the special keepsake you get to take home with you.
Magnets are just such a thing. Well, I don't know. Do you have magnets? Like ours are on the garage fridge.
I do. Actually, I moved mine from the vehicle to my garage fridge as well, just because they were starting to crack and I didn't want them to fall off while I was going down the road, so
Yeah, I have a pretty solid fridge situation going on, right? It's pretty covered at this point, so that's a good thing.
right. So dates for the Very Merry Christmas Party for DVC discounts. There's usually one a week between November 7 and all the way through December 19. So if you are going to be at Magic Kingdom during those times, consider going during the DVC discount night. Let's see what else in DVC news. Hoopty Review will get its own DVC exclusive showing. There's going to be 2 dates. It will be either Tuesday, December 9 or Tuesday, December 16, where you will get priority reservations and by priority reservations, I mean it will be exclusive for DVC members. Have you ever been to Hoopty Review?
I have.
I have not. It's
It
one
was
thing
all
I've
right.
not done.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right.
Is that's over at Disney's Fort Wilderness? So you have to take the bus over there, I guess.
I think we were staying over there.
I've
Were
heard
we?
great things about it. I mean,
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. I wasn't as impressed, I think, as some people are. I mean, it was, kind of funny-ish.
Right,
But you gotta take I think if it's one of those things where, again, I would think that as your kids are younger, I think it's better. I
right.
think as they get older, it's not as well, I mean, I don't know. For my family, as they've gotten older, I don't think it would be as much fun. That's what I would say.
Well,
There's this weird level of, like, kid embarrassment.
exactly, that's where I was going.
Yeah, and I was talking to my daughter about something recently. Oh, about this whole situation, something at school, and she was talking about how, like, somebody from the back of the class yelled up to her, like, if she wanted a piece of gum or something, and, like, that was embarrassing, and, like, she was like, "I can't believe that girl did that." She asked for a piece of gum from the back of the room.
Oh,
Yeah, so there
teachers.
gets to be a level where, like, embarrassing stuff can kind of, flip over to the other side.
Definitely, I've noticed there is this, what are we gonna call this? Like a valley of enthusiasm where, yeah, as kids, they're really excited. They get to the teenage years and that dips down, right?
Yeah.
But then as you start to get a little bit older, I think that enthusiasm of the parks starts to go back up. I'm starting to see that already, in our oldest son.
Yeah, I don't think I have that just yet. My oldest is more about new experiences. I realized this recently. He was must have gone to the Virginia Fair
Uh-huh.
last weekend, and I was surprised. And he was kind of just like, I think he's about doing new things because when we had talked about this year again going on a cruise versus going on this cross country trip, I was kind of under the assumption that everyone would defer to this cruise because who wants to drive this cross country trip? And he was like, "Nah, like I want to do new stuff."
Right.
Okay, I get it.
Alright. What else? Let's see. At the lounge at Epcot above the Imagination Pavilion, Mickey and Minnie will be doing some exclusive character meet and greets for DVC members. They're going to be in their travel attire. And from looking at the picture, Mickey looks like a straight up flight attendant on some airline. If you're looking, are you looking
Yeah.
at that photo right now?
Yeah, yeah, I would agree, but it's always again, we've been through what I feel about character meet and greets, so I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest with you. But I have my own opinions on them, but I don't think this is necessarily a bad spot, especially for an exclusive character meet and greet. I think that's
Right.
that's actually a good spot.
And you know what? That is important because to get this exclusive meet and greet for DVC members, you actually have to be part of the membership Magic Beyond tier of DVC, which is that extra added tier.
I think
That
my parents purchased that this go around,
right,
right? They
right.
got and they were excited because they got into the
That place in Magic Kingdom,
no, they
the
did not
lounge
get
in
in
Magic Kingdom, right?
no, they did not get into that one, but they wanted to go to the Epcot, DVC lounge, and they were
Right.
able to get right in when there was, like, a line of, like, 40 people or
Gotcha.
something, so
And that is one of the major perks of being
yes,
membership Magic Beyond.
absolutely.
So
Wait, we have a tip from Blake?
yes, got a tip for me. It's kind of a
Oh,
story
man.
slash tip, okay? So I had a friend, Angie, who went on a Disney cruise probably about 2 weeks ago, and she got back and she said, "Blake wanted you to know I bought into DVC while we were on the cruise." So I was it's like, "Great,
Wait, does she
excited."
listen to the show?
She does listen to the show.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, so I asked her the details about it. I said, "Well, what'd you buy? Where'd you buy? How much did you buy? Blah, blah." And she bought at Polynesian, okay, she bought 150 points at Polynesian, and the deal they gave her was that she got not only 2025 points, a full 150 2025 points, they gave her 150 points for 2024. So last
Yeah.
year's full points,
Yep.
this year's full points. Her use year is in December,
Mhm.
so in 2 months, she's gonna get another 150 points, so 450 points total, and she's only been in for 2 months at this point, which is a
Yeah,
great deal.
the tough thing is you gotta burn those points rather quickly, right? Like, with your
Yeah.
use year. So, we also sat through the presentation while we were on a Disney cruise and got offered the same deal. We were very close to buying points while we
Yeah.
were on the cruise, and then we're just like, "Man, I just spent so much money on this cruise, like, I'm good," right? And we already had points, so it was more of actually, you know what the issue for us was? Is we wanted to buy Saratoga points, and they didn't have any at that point. But what's
Really?
interesting is that the day later, they were like, "Oh, by the way, we happen to have points now." So they definitely did a right of first refusal on somebody to get
Yeah.
points for us. And then we were just like, "Nah, we're good." But yeah, I did sit through the presentation. It was actually very nice. It was well done, and you're on a cruise, so it's not like you feel like you're missing out on a ride or something.
Right.
Right, so it wasn't so bad. So, yeah, I did do that as well, it's definitely worth doing, and I think I don't the other thing is that, there is a DVC meetup
Yeah.
on the cruises, and the first time I was on a Disney cruise, and I won, like, so much ship credit at that. There was, like, giveaway and, like, hundreds of dollars of ship credit. So, definitely make sure you're checking that out when you get on these cruises because, again, I won a couple $100 of ship credit by going to one of those.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. All right, let's move on to some listener questions. We actually have 2
We had a
questions.
lot of questions. These are the ones you pulled?
Yeah, these are the 2. I don't wanna use all the questions at one time. We gotta let them space out a little bit. So,
Okay. I mean, this is only once every 2 weeks, but okay.
I know. All right, so, both questions I have here actually are from the same person, a friend of mine, actually, Greg. So Greg
Well,
wants
I see how this works. We got
Yeah,
an Angie story, we got Greg question.
yay,
Everyone
connections
listen, hear
matter.
how that goes.
Yeah, connections matter. Come on. All right. So, Greg wants to know, is it a good idea to use DVC points to book cruises or other tours? And you
It
have done this, so I'm going to let
it
you
it
talk.
depends on what you mean by a good idea. Is it
Right.
cost effective? No, probably not. Is
Right.
it easier? I think so. Listen, I've sold points. I've done all that. The problem is that it can be a little frustrating because you have to manage the reservation. Everyone will tell me, "Oh, it's so easy." No, you still have to manage the reservation for that person, and maybe you just don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Like I didn't want to have
Right.
to be doing that and then pay for a cruise. But is it more cost effective to do it the other way? Absolutely. But I did book with DVC points for a cruise, and I think we had kick in like $250, $300 or something,
Right.
and that was it. But yeah, I mean, it was fine for me,
Now, did
right?
that bottom out your points when you
It did. It bottomed out my points for like 3 years. So it was like borrowed, normal, and
and
in the
banked
past
points?
banked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like it definitely did. So, but we knew we weren't going. So this year actually is funny because we went on the cruise a few years ago, and December is when we'll actually have points again. I mean, we've been like a 1 day here and there. We went to Riviera before our other cruise last summer. Like we're going to use it for something else. But in general, a full on vacation, yeah, it took us out of 3 years worth of points.
Right.
So not necessarily the most cost effective, but definitely the easiest to do. And again, by easy, like that's just my opinion. It's not really that hard, but ours was a little bit like when we did it one time, like when we sold our points, like it was a little bit of a pain. Like my wife was frustrated. I'm like, oh, dude, for her to be frustrated, is it worth the effort? Really wasn't for me.
Yeah, I've always heard from a sheer dollar standpoint, it's better to rent those points out
Absolutely.
and then take the cash and pay for the
Yeah,
cruise.
I think they have some sort of swap now too.
Right.
I mean, they're not a sponsor,
Directly
so I can't
directly
really
through
talk
Disney, or
about
do
them.
you do that
No, I think you do that through them.
through the rental folks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question that Greg has is meal plan. Yes or meal plan no? Do you do a
I,
meal
I've
plan?
I've been with my friends who've done the meal plan the same time we didn't do the meal plan.
Right.
I don't know who spent more money, but like they had to run around and get snacks all the time. Like I don't want to have to be forced to eat snacks. Right? Like, I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but one of the things is I go on vacation as I've been older now, right? It's not so easy to take off that weight. I mean, I know you are walking a lot and
Yep.
things like that, but I don't want to do all that. So for me, it's just a no, just based on that fact, right? Like, I don't want to have to eat if I'm not hungry. But I mean, I guess the one thing that's nice about it is you've already paid for it. So there's
Right.
no extra expenses to kind of have as you go through the parks. And some people like that. Like some people, and again, normally as a person, I like that, right? Like
Right.
not having to worry about it again. But on the meal planet, like I said, for me, it's just tough because I don't want to be forced to eat when I don't want to eat. And maybe one day I just want to go and eat a whole bunch of stuff at Epcot food and wine and nothing else that whole day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yep.
just don't, I mean, I know you can use some of the points there, but like, I just don't want that hassle. I don't like
Right.
being, yeah.
Our family has always done it. Mainly especially because the kids were younger and they were eating more. I will tell you, regardless, a slam dunk case for the meal plan is if you are like us, where every sit down meal, we schedule it as part of character dining.
Mm,
So if character dining by default is more expensive, so if you do character dining every meal, like well, not every meal, but every sit down meal, like we did, it absolutely is worth it, because character dining can be quite a bit more expensive than regular sit down dining.
yep.
So, all right. So, folks, if you have any questions, please post them on Facebook. We would love to listen to them. We will love to answer
We
them.
need a few more people in the group. Can we get to triple digits, please?
Yes. Yes. If you're listening to
Invite
this,
family and friends.
right. If you have not joined our Facebook group, please do so. There is the Rhubarb Travelers group and then the Rhubarb Travelers podcast group. So make sure you join both of them. Okay.
One's a page, one's a group, right?
Right.
So,
One's a page, one's a group. All right, folks, we are going to be right back after this word from our sponsor. We'd like to welcome our inaugural sponsor to the show, Don'tResistTheTravel.com. Folks, vacation travel should be exciting, memorable, and most importantly, completely stress-free. Ha! Right. However, as we all know, planning that perfect trip for you and your family can be anything but that. And that's where the folks at Don't Resist the Travel come in and save the day. Whether you're traveling with your family and want a vacation that's fun, effortless, and full of memories, or you're looking for a luxury escape with VIP experiences, private tours, and hand-picked resorts, the folks at Don't Resist the Travel handle every detail just for you. When you work with Don't Resist the Travel, you don't just book a trip, you build an experience that's truly tailored to your personal needs. So don't resist. You know you want to travel. Visit don'tresistthetravel.com and start planning your next unforgettable getaway today. And make sure to let them know the guys at Rhubarb Travelers Podcast sent you. That's don'tresistthetravel.com. And we're back. All right, so news from the Disney parks. Disney is testing out changes to the queue line for Guardians of the Galaxy over in Epcot. If you've ever been on that ride, you know there's that mad dash to get over to the right side of this big room.
and I hate that so much. I mean, we have
Yeah.
that on Rock and Roller Coaster. We
Yep.
have that on multiple rides, and I just don't enjoy it because it creates this level of distress and just, I don't love it.
Well, now they have cast members who are directing traffic within that room, and from reading over the news about it, it looks like they are giving priority to those people that have the Lightning Lane, have purchased Lightning
As
Lane.
well they should.
As well they should, exactly, right? If you're gonna do that, you need to be one of the first ones out of that room into the other line, so
Yeah, like I said, I never liked that. I think Rock and Roller Coaster is kind of where it started, and it just was always like people just hovering at the doors, pushing through you so they could get to the doors quick. Like, man, just stay where you are. It's not that big
right.
of a deal. Like, for
Everyone's gonna
real.
get to ride. Everyone's gonna get to ride.
Exactly.
So hopefully if these changes work out, they will push that change out to other rides, kind of like Rock and Roller Coaster when it opens back up with the new Muppet overlay. So other news this week, Holiday Overlay, speaking of holiday overlays, is coming back to Living with the Land over in Epcot. I have never done the Living with the Land during the
All right,
holiday.
well, hold on. First of all, the Muppet is not going to be an overlay, so we're not speaking
Well,
of
you know what I mean.
overlays. But go ahead, Blake.
You know what I mean. All right. Have you ever done Living with the Land boat ride while the holiday overlay was
I
going
have not. I've done behind the scenes tour, which I think was fun.
Right.
It was different. It was during COVID that we actually did that. But no, I have not done that. But I do like Living with the Land. That's always a fun little excursion. So that would
Right.
be cool.
Yep. It's part of the greater Festival of the Holidays in Epcot. It kicks off on November 28th. So if you are interested in that, make sure you get on over to Epcot and ride Living with the Land for that holiday overlay. More news in Epcot. Like all of our park news is actually in Epcot this week. I just realized that. So Spaceship Earth
Thank goodness.
is reopening on October 25th. We get to thank the Phoenicians once again. Are we
My
not excited?
my mom was pretty upset that it wasn't open during our trip. I'll be honest with you. I was surprised at like how upset she was. I mean, that is a favorite ride for some of us.
I enjoy it. I do. Is Dame Judi Dench still the? She's still the narrator, right? She
I don't
was
know.
a
You're
couple of
asking
years
the
ago.
wrong person.
Yeah. Anyway, they have updated some of the LED lights in the Starfield. You know, when you're going down and you're kind of leaning back and going down, they have fixed some of that. So hopefully they will be making some other ride enhancements along the way.
Nice.
All right. Believe it or not, we are at the end of all of our Disney news this
I'm
week.
excited for the non-Disney news though this week. So
I know. So, and of course, you know what that means. All right, folks, we're here in the after show. Of course, this is all talk about non-Disney stuff, and we are going to now talk about the Royal Beach Club that is part of the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line is going to be their own little beach club on Paradise Island down in Bahamas. That is on the same island that the Atlantis is on that I just went to a couple weeks ago. So
yeah. So I think this is great news. I said we've turned into a little bit of a cruise family. I'll call out Dan. I still don't get why he's not a cruise person, but I mean he explained it to us. I don't know. I happen to love this cruise situation. So that's kind of the area we've been going. But again, from a Disney aspect, right? We still use our Disney hotel to make sure we're staying by the port the night
Right.
before. Okay, cool.
Right.
So anyway, so this is a beach club, and it's funny because when you go to Nassau, unless you're taking that trip from the cruise to the Atlantis, which I heard, again, I'm only speaking on what I've heard, is that you don't really get a lot of time there because the trip over, the checking in, all of
Right.
that takes a fair chunk of time. Right.
Right.
So people don't like that. I saw the Baha Mar, where it was kind of like one of the things that we were probably going to try next time. But now with this, I think this is what I'm doing. This is, you get the beach. And it's interesting because my daughter, I don't remember if I said this last time, but she's kind of been like, I miss going to the beach so much. And okay, we'll go to the beach as many times as we can now. So this is a good one because you can kind of get off. It's all within the Royal Caribbean bubble, which is
Right.
nice. And it's not that far. So I'm excited about this. I wish there was like a little water park there, something, but I get it, right? Right now it's just this beach club. So hopefully in the future we get a little bit more, but I am excited for this bit of news. I think it makes it easy for something to do as you hop off the boat.
Right. And this brings it in line with some other cruise lines, like Disney has Castaway Cay.
No, so this is not like that. So they
Well, it's
already
not a
have
whole
their,
island. Right.
but they already have their whole island, right?
Right.
So they have Perfect Day. So that Coco Key. So this is not that, right? This is there's the nice part about this is again because when you're in Nassau, what do you do? Right. When you're at
Right.
Coco Key, you're any of the places that the cruise ships have their own island. Like you already know what you're doing that day. But this was just like, do you stay in the boat at Nassau? Right. Because we weren't
Right.
get off, and this
Because
is something to do.
yeah, if you're not interested in walking
You're,
down the streets in Nassau and getting offered fake Rolexes every 5 minutes,
yeah. If you're
you
not
want
going to the
something to
straw
do.
market, yeah,
Yeah.
this is a nice thing to kind of do.
Yeah. And it has already started soft openings according to
Which is
news reports.
great. So we get
Yeah.
some news on it and kind of understand what it is and things like that.
Right. And speaking of this, folks, all of the links that we are talking about, they are in our show notes that are available to our Patreon subscribers. I'm going to put in another Patreon plug.
There
So
you
go
go.
join us over on Patreon so you can get these links. All right, moving on. We are going to actually go over to Universal, where Mythos Restaurant is now permanently closing.
That's such a tough thing because it was such a good restaurant. Did you ever get to eat there?
I did not.
No,
So
it was very good, and the theming was really good. That whole area over there was themed really well. So I'm super excited to see what comes out of that area and what restaurant they put there. But they're gonna have to really put something good there, right? It's
right.
following in the footsteps of Mythos was voted the best theme park restaurant, I believe, for a few
Yes.
years. So it's gonna really have to stand up. There's wild speculation rumors that area could be Legend of Zelda, which would be
Gosh, that would
really
be
cool.
amazing.
So there are rumors about that, which that'd be something I like to see. Other than that, I mean, I would even I'll always take more Harry Potter, right? Like I'll always take more Harry Potter. I
Yeah,
just don't know what they would do there, but I'll
I'm
always
trying
take it.
I'm trying to think of my geography. Where is that part? Where is the Lost Continent that's right next to.
I feel like it's up and right. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's how I kind of imagine things.
but it's I don't wanna say connected, but it's adjacent to Hogsmeade, I think it is. Which half of it? I can never remember.
Again, these are sort of questions I just don't remember. You'd have to bring up a map, but
Yeah,
it is, like I said, it is in a pretty interesting section. Um, I'm curious to see what they do with it, but just make sure whatever you put there, that it's just as good as Mythos was, please.
right,
Like that's what we need. No, again, just no bad quick service restaurants there.
right. Next piece of news over in Universal, Stardust Racers has reopened. It has been closed recently due to some unfortunate events, but it is now reopened. They have updated the safety regulations on that. They have changed the signs around it. The big takeaway from this is that now to be able to get on that ride, you must be able to independently maintain an upright position, and you must be able to stand independently for height verification. And not only on this ride, but they've actually added this wording to a lot of the new rides over in Epic Universe. I think that's just a prudent uh, caution on their part based on all these new rides. Breaking. We interrupt this program for some late breaking news. All right, folks, we've got some late breaking news, literally about 60 minutes after Damon and I finished recording the episode. This piece of news came across the internet, and Damon and I felt like it was just too great to not go ahead and talk about it. Now, Damon's not here right now. He couldn't join me for this extra recording, so I'm going to run this solo. But there is a new theme park being planned for Las Vegas, Nevada, and the name of it is called Retro Escapes. Again, it's going to be in Las Vegas, and the organizers say it plans to transport guests into rides and lands inspired by the decades, the 1950s through the 1990s in the U.S. And I'm just going to take a little side moment here. I went to college in the early 1990s, and to call that retro, man, that's just rude. I'm going to have to get over that. But anyway. So anyway, the organizers say they're planning for this to be an outdoor and indoor theme park. That's good because, Vegas gets to be a little warm every now and then. It's going to have rides, restaurants, and shows. And at the park entrance, guests would step through a time travel portal to access theme lands based on American pop culture of different decades from the 50s to the 90s, plus a Tomorrow Zone. And if you go look at the concept art that's out there for this portal that you step through, it has the vibes of Epic Universe when you are going through those portals to the different lands. But this new development is being headed up by a social media influencer of all people by the name of Daniel Leo Jr. I have not followed him on any of the socials, but he is the self-proclaimed CEO of Las Vegas. He and his father are in this venture. They announced this back on September 30th, so just about a week ago. They are teaming up with a group called the PGAV Destinations Group. And this is these are the folks that worked on the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. They helped build the Manta ride at SeaWorld Orlando. And they've also built a full park at SeaWorld Abu Dhabi. So we've definitely got a heavy hitter here, right? This is not just some mom and pop organization trying to build a theme park. They are working with folks that know what they are doing. So if you go look at the concept art, there are some really neat things here. And one of the first things that pops out is there's this big grassy area off to one side that you can clearly see what looks like a Woodstock. So that's probably going to be the 1960s era. There's looks like there's going to be a boat ride that is themed with cars. Let me just kind of go through each decade as the article talks about it. So the 1950s is going to have a boat ride. And based off the concept art right now, it's going to be in boats that look like convertibles, cars. So 1950s convertible cars. There's going to be an Elvis-themed restaurant and bar, a Marilyn Monroe walk-up bar. Lots of bars in these, as you might imagine, being in Las Vegas. But all of this will be in the 50s. And then we move on to the 1960s era. And that era, from the concept art, is going to have a lot of grassy area. Again, there is going to be what looks like almost like a concert venue. It's probably not going to be too big, but it would be where you could have bands perform like you did at Woodstock. There's going to be what looks like Volkswagen buses in almost like a food truck setting. So probably lots of restaurants there. Looks really cool. I think that's going to be really nice. As we move on, the 1970s era, not too many pictures, but of course, there's going to be a heavy disco influence in there. It talks about a disco bar. It has an arcade. Arcades turned big because you started with video games in the late 70s. So looking good there. The 1980s, there's only one picture, and it's what's called a game bar. It's modeled after Pac-Man. Obviously, the 1980s was the decade where video games really came to bear. So there's going to be a lot of probably video game influence there. If you look at the concept art back in the background, there's a building that has the words "Back to the Future" on it. Doesn't really show what it might be about, but could be a show, could be attraction. The building here in the concept art is a little small for a ride, so I don't think it would be that. But you never know. This is all just early concept art, so they might turn it into a ride. They might be a show, might be an attraction. We move on to the 1990s. The big thing there is that's when grunge music really came into being. So there's going to be grunge clubs. There's going to be rock bars. There's an open market type area based on concept art. And of course, there's going to be more bars. It looks like there's actually a skateboarding park there in some of that concept art. So it could be pretty cool there. And then we end up with the Tomorrow Zone. And if you look at the concept art, if you've ever seen the movie Ready Player One, where the Oasis, where everyone goes online to go meet up, the concept art looks like the Oasis, right? So it's very heavy in neon. In fact, there's a lot of neon all over this place. But the Tomorrow Zone looks really cool. And if you go to other pictures there, it looks like it's going to have some sort of thrill or coaster ride. There's concept art of single-seater, what looks like a roller coaster. So one wide, so everyone's right behind the other, and it looks like it's going to be really, really cool. Then all of this is, I'm thinking it might be a hub and spoke layout because it also talks about the center of the park. There's going to be something called the Fountain of Youth. Based off the art that they are showing here, it looks like you're going to have some nightly shows where, if you think about Phantasmic, where they are projecting images up onto a screen of water that they are throwing up. Same concept here, right? So they show Marilyn Monroe, they show Smokey Robinson on these water screens and a couple of other people. But it looks like the Fountain of Youth is going to be where you have all of your nighttime shows for the park. They haven't announced any construction yet, so they have not turned over the first shovel of dirt. So this is very early in the process. They haven't announced any opening date. Right now, Daniel Leo Jr., who is one of the organizers of this, he's quoted as saying they are currently in talks on the land and figuring out the best fit. So that is code word for we are so early in this process, we don't even know when we're going to open. So undoubtedly, things will change, right? And there could be a chance this thing never opens. It could just, die on the vine. But If it makes it to fruition, this looks really cool. Damon and I are really excited about it. He was like, "Man, we might need to go out there and go check this place out." So, but given that they have not even started buying land yet, boy, we are at least 3 to 4, 5 years away from seeing this happen. So, anyway, we wanted to get this out in front of you, folks. Thank you so much for listening. And now we're going to go back to our programming.
So this next piece of news I've been waiting for a very long time. Royal
Our-
Caribbean and
yeah,
Legend of the Seas. So
yeah.
Legend of the Seas was a name of an older ship. This is not that. This is an Icon class ship, right? This is a new ship, I believe 2026. So what they've been doing is they've been taking their ships, kind of putting them over to the European cruise season before they bring them to Florida. So I believe the same thing is happening with Legend of the Seas. If I remember correctly, it will have a nice transatlantic Barcelona trip to bring it over to Florida.
Right.
So Star of the Seas is what we're looking at for ourselves for 27. And then for 28, we're looking to go on this boat, which again is kind of just our schedule. I like to go to amusement parks right when they open. I
Right.
don't necessarily want to be on a cruise ship the year that it starts, the first year that it starts cruising. Me
Because
personally.
it has to go through shakedown. It has to work out the bugs.
That's what I feel like. So I'm okay with that. So Legend of the Seas is, there's going to be this whole new family experience and things like that. It's going to have the most restaurants of anything in the Royal Caribbean fleet. I think, what was it, 28 or something like that, which is kind of cool. Yep.
Right.
28 options, most dining at sea. It will have the neighborhoods just like we have in some of the other ones. The Royal Railway, which my wife was totally against, which I was kind of interested in. It's this kind of like dinner theater-y sort of thing with screens, kind of like Harry Potter train ride.
Right. It
But she
seems
was
cool.
not. It seems cool, but it's also super expensive.
Yeah.
She was not interested in that. But it also will have, the water slides like they have on some of the other boats, which is great. And I think that the interesting part is this Hollywoodland Supper Club sounds interesting as one of the new areas to eat in. I mean, that is an extra cost, but you have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The thing is, you're not going to beat Back to the Future on Star of the Seas for me personally, but I think it's nice that they kind of have this. The other thing that's also been a little bit different is, and it started with Star of the Seas, is this Aquadome Market, this kind of this food hall, which has all different types of food, and that is free.
Right.
So I think that's also cool. The other thing I did hear about this, and I think it must have just been a rumor or they haven't really talked about it yet, is the casino. I heard rumors that this might be a bigger casino than what we've seen on other ships. And while I did hop into the casino on Utopia, and
How
again,
much did you lose? Go ahead.
no. So this is funny. I don't normally play blackjack. So
Right.
when I go to the casino, and again, I lived in an area, there was a bunch right in the beginning. We had things in Pennsylvania, and
Right.
we used to go to Foxwoods in Connecticut for years and years and years.
Right.
But I never played blackjack. I'd
Right.
always play either baccarat or I would play roulette, but never blackjack. So, I'm on this ship and there's kind of nothing really going on in the casino. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to play blackjack. Now, here's the thing. I was shocked, but blackjack tables, $50 and up.
That was the
Nothing under
minimum?
$50. Minimum $50.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I sit down at a table. There's nobody there. And I kind of tell her, like, hey, listen, I know how to play, but I've never played at a table before. And she was like, no problems. She shuffles up the 8 million decks that they have.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Win 5 hands in a row. And then I just
got up
bounced.
and walked away.
And then I just left. It took her longer to shuffle the cards than it took me to win 5 hands in a row. And I won 5 hands in a row, and that was it. And I was done for the whole entire trip. I was like, I'm not going back to the casino. So it will be interesting to see what the casino looks like. I didn't find the casino packed at all, but we were playing basketball in one of the basketball tournaments, and a guy on the first day was like, yeah, I'm already down 1,500. And I'm, wow, like, dude,
That's
it's the first day.
Yeah,
Like,
some people go on these cruises specifically for the.
but that's what I'm saying. Why now with the fact that there's all these other places you can gamble, right? I don't know why that's such a big draw anymore. But anyway, so outside of that, you do have another Central Park, which is nice. It's kind of cool to see like plants and trees and stuff on a boat. I'm excited, but I'll tell you the truth, I wasn't as, the difference between, I think, Utopia and Star of the Seas, I think is going to be much bigger of a difference than we're going to see on Star of the Seas to Legend of the Seas.
Okay.
But we'll have to find out, right? I mean, that's the thing. We'll have to find out. I'm just excited, like I said, for Star. Let's see how that goes. And then we'll do another one. I mean, it depends on the itinerary as well. I do love Disney cruises, but as Jeremy will say, now listen, he also goes on the boats that I wouldn't necessarily go on in the Royal Caribbean line. So
Right.
it is more cost effective for him. I like the newer boats with more people and more things to do. But even with the top level boats versus Disney, you're still probably at half the price. Like, I couldn't imagine us being, so when we went on a Disney cruise, we've always been in one room, and they do
Right.
have 5-person rooms, but that was fine when the kids were younger.
That seems really cramped. Like, not even no.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like you have these 2 beds on the wall, and then like this thing in the middle of the room turns into something. Like, it's a whole situation. But you can do 5-person rooms. And they were fine until all of a sudden, we had 2 grown men and a lady, right? And it's like,
Right.
plus us. I just don't know if we could do that anymore. So when we did Royal, we ended up doing 2 rooms, which they enjoyed. So I think even with 2 rooms, you're still at half the price.
Did you do they have connected rooms on the Royal?
So you we did not have one. They were just across the way from us, and it's so funny. Like, as long as they're within like 3 doors of us, I just don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be connected. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good in that aspect. So super excited for this. Again, we'll be doing Royal stuff for a while. If you're really interested in a ton of Royal stuff, go check out Matt over at Royal Caribbean Blog. He's the man.
Right.
So.
Yep. All right, folks, we want to remind you to please go visit don'tresistthetravel.com and let the folks there handle every detail in creating and planning your next extraordinary getaway, no matter where that might be. That's don'tresistthetravel.com. Go listen to us on your favorite podcast streaming service and rate us. If we are not on your service, please drop us a message either in the Facebook group or send us an email to rhubarbtravelerspodcast@gmail.com and let us know which service you use so that we can get set up there. While you are listening, please leave us a rating and a review if your service allows that, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts. Please leave a 5-star rating. It helps us out more than you can possibly imagine. But we are on Spotify, we are on Pocket Cast, we are on various other ones. So please just go listen, follow, and leave us a rating. We have Patreon. You can go visit us on patreon.com, do a search for Rhubarb Travelers, and please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. We are on all of the socials, X, Instagram, Facebook. We are posting regularly. Please come join us. And as we say down in here in the South, mash that like button or follow button and make sure you stay up to date on all of our posts. All right, folks. Well, that is going to wrap up our show today. So we will be back in 2 weeks. And until then, Damon, I will see you then, my friend.
Sounds good.
Folks, the Rhubarb Travelers podcast is for entertainment purposes only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company or NBC Universal, the parent company of Universal Studios. And as such, all opinions expressed on the show are exclusively our own. Please consult a DVC or Disney cast member or Universal team member for more information about anything we might have talked about today.